Back I get from people that train with me or just people that are wondering in general is, they don't know how to handle their leads. They don't know how to talk to them when they open them up. So we kind of want to go through that a little bit and see if we can provide a lot of value there for you guys. So I'm going to let Doug kick this off since he's the one that put this together. And then Doug, just let me know when you want to move to the next slide, and we'll just kind of hit this as we go.
Okay. So I know some people have asked for scripts that they can use, and scripts are great, especially if you're cold calling, but you're not cold calling these leads that have came in. These leads have requested information. They've basically given you their contact info. This is permission-based selling. So you don't really need a script. You just need to get them on the phone, get them communicating through text message or email. One form of communication, at least. So go to the next slide.
Hey, before I do that, excuse me. So when Doug says that, like scripting may be very, very helpful for cold calls, but he's right. Warm leads do not require that. These people came to you. They asked you for certain information. You don't want to call and script people, because as soon as you do that, and believe me, people understand and they know when you're scripting them, you go from being someone they asked for information to being a telemarketer almost immediately. And then that's when you guys start asking questions. Why am I not getting through to my leads? Why are they not talking to me anymore? Things like that. So that's what we're going to cover with this slide.
Hey, can you just share my screen?
Yeah, I can do that. There you go.
Perfect. All right. So close your mouth and open your ears. Sounds pretty simple, right? Kind of what William touched base on. Have you ever been in a conversation and just felt like the other person wasn't listening? They're just trying to talk and talk and talk. That's not the way to work these leads. And I know that most people in this group, they're alphas, that's why you're in sales. But you got to learn to hold that back some and let your prospects do the talking. Because if you're doing most of the talking, then it's just a sales pitch, right? You're just a telemarketer, kind of like what William talked about. So if you let the prospect do most of the talking, then it's more of a conversation, and you're going to learn about the needs of the prospect. And they're going to feel like you're listening and you care about what they're saying. And if possible, try to use open-ended questions. Don't say, do you want a house in the $250,000 to $300,000 price range? That's a yes or no question. You may open it up, what's your price range? That's open-ended. Then they can get to talking about maybe some of the needs that they have. You can't always make your questions open-ended, but if you can, try to do that. And what your goal is to do is to become the solution to the prospect. And we're going to call these leads prospects.
So let me touch on something real quick. Can you go back to that slide?
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of chime in where I feel the need to. So with all of that said, everyone, like I said, most of the feedback I get are from people that say, I don't know how to approach these people. I don't know what to say. I need a script, right? But you guys have to remember that all of the leads that come in from an ad, it doesn't matter whether it's one of my ads that you did in training or an ad that you did on your own. They came to you for a reason. They submitted their information to you for a reason, because you offered something. So when you approach these people, I know it's hard to believe that something can be simple in this business, but the reality is when you call these people, let's just say we'll use one of my ads for example. I'm offering them a list of new construction homes in whatever area. So when I call them, it's as simple as this. Hi, Doug. I'm giving you a call because you submitted your information you requested information about my newly built homes and any buyer credits that might be available. How can I help you? Put the ball back in their court. End of story. Let them talk and let them go on. When it's your turn, what price range are you looking in? What area would you like to live in? Right? Are schools important for you? Anything to just open that conversation up. If they have kids, they're going to start talking about that. Of course, schools are important for us. Price range is the number one factor in that situation. With some people, it's not. But if you're not listening to them and you're talking at them, hey, well, let's just go ahead and get you over to lender right away. You just threw it into a negative situation. Like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I just want to get you to the lender and find out what you're all about. There's no such thing as a bad lead. Because even if you have a lead that comes in and says, hey, I know I have a 540 credit score and I've got a ton of stuff on my credit. Okay, great. I don't understand why agents throw those people off to the side instead of trying to help them get into a credit repair program. Number one, because you've just provided value by trying to help them. Number two, because maybe their mom or dad or sister has great credit. And they say, you know what, this realtor's really helping me out. You should talk to William, or you should talk to Doug, or whoever you are. That person's going to refer you to someone else. So no lead is a bad lead. All right, Doug, you can go ahead and move on.
Those are really great points. And everybody has to remember, we are in the business of relationships. People use you because they like you. If they don't like you, they're going to find somebody else to use. They're not tied to you. So to build a relationship, you got to get to know people. And you already touched on basically my first question. So I have a series of questions, and they're somewhat generic. And going back onto the scripts, this should be your script. You should have basically some canned questions that you want to ask people and just get them talking. Like, just keep asking questions. So we're going to go over these questions, and you can change them up to whatever suits you best. But just remember, they're a little generic. So first question, what made you decide to reach out to me? Because they reached out to you. They gave you their name, phone number, and email. I mean, that's going to help set the tone of the conversation. That's going to help get them talking. It may catch them off guard too, but like I said, it's going to get them talking. And if you're doing most of the talking, you're doing it wrong. That's my opinion. And my opinion may be wrong, but it seems to work well when you get people talking. So the second question would be, if your plan works out, what does the outcome look like? Okay, so that's pretty generic, but these are some examples of what you could ask. So if everything works out the way you want it to, then when would you like to move into your new home? You know, same thing, but asking, what do you want your monthly payment to be? Everything works out perfectly, what would be your out-of-pocket cost to get into the home? And as an example for a seller, if everything works out perfectly, when would you like to close on the sale of your home? There's just a bunch of questions you can ask. And I know these aren't necessarily open-ended questions like I like to use, but you can just add, you can ask the open-ended question of, what are your goals for this? You know, like if you've got a buyer lead, what are your goals with regards to buying a property? I mean, they could go anywhere with that question, but you got them talking. The third question, what would be your end goal working with me? So this is going to kind of tie it back to you. Hey,
Doug, yeah. I'm gonna open this up since we're on question number 3, guys. If you guys have any questions, ask them in the chat box right now. Ralph, yes, it's going to be recorded. You know, if you have any questions on the first few slides of this deck, I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes. Go ahead and ask them so we can answer as we're going. And if you have questions as we're going, I'm watching the chat box while Doug goes through this, so we can stop and answer those questions. I don't want this to be just, we're sitting here talking at you. I want you guys to engage and understand everything about what we're saying here. So if you have something specific you need to get out, let me know. Or if you want the group to hear what you're saying, I'll unmute you and let you talk. So if anybody has anything, pop it in there real quick, and then we'll keep moving forward.
Okay. So question number 3, I really like this one because you should have the prospect talking now. And with this question, you're actually inserting yourself into their thought process. And you're asked, you could ask, what are your expectations from me? Open-ended, but it's going to get them thinking about you, what you can do for them. And you're also going to be able to see if, they're maybe too needy, or maybe they're not that needy. I know everybody has their ideal clients. You may end up finding out you don't even want to work with this person. So this is a really good question.
Hey, Doug.
And one thing, yeah.
So Myra asked, what if you cannot reach a lead by any means of communication? So Myra, I would have to ask, go ahead, Doug.
Well, I think we're going to get into that later when we talk about the follow-up.
All right, so we'll answer that here in just a few minutes.
We're definitely going to get into that. So I would leave that one for later. We're definitely going to get into that. So when you're asking these questions and when you're having this conversation, I think everybody you should always under-promise and over-deliver. Like, don't promise people the world if you can't deliver it. I would always just try to set expectations, and expectations that you're able to crush. Then you're going to look like the hero. So Kalina said put them into a CRM and keep following up with them. Excellent. That's pretty much what we're going to talk about. So the fourth question, this puts it back onto the prospect. How much effort are you willing to put into getting your goal accomplished? It's pretty self-explanatory. You may phrase it differently. Like if this is a buyer, you may say, okay, are you willing to put in the work to get you into a home? Put it back on them. Let them know that they're going to have to do some work too. If it's a seller, are you willing to do everything you need to do to get this home sold quick and for the price that you want to? I mean, that's not a bad question. So here are some examples. Like one example, are you willing to get pre-approved with a lender and get them all the documents they need up front? Of course, that lender should be Doug Laney, but no, I'm just joking. But really, these are like simple questions to make sure that people are willing to do the work. I know everybody's worked with crappy buyers and crappy sellers. You got to set the expectations up front. And you're asking them. And when they, later on down the road, whenever, your lender's saying, hey man, this dude's not giving me my documents. I mean, I can only do so much. They've already said that they're going to do this. You just remind them. So are you willing to listen to my advice regarding offer amounts for property? These are just little example questions you could ask. What you should do is have an arsenal of these questions. So when you have a conversation with the prospect, the only script you have is you've got a bunch of questions that you want to ask them and get them talking. Same thing with sellers. Or you want to do these blank things to get your property ready to sell. Just example questions. You should just have your arsenal ready. Get your bullets ready for that conversation. So another good question is, have you tried to buy or sell before? Great question for buyers, great question for sellers, because if it's a buyer, then you could say, what went wrong, what went right with the process if it didn't happen. Same thing with the seller. What went wrong, what went right. And the reason you're going to want to know what went wrong and right is because you don't want to repeat what went wrong. Well, that's what I just said right there. And then ask them, what would you do different this time? You're finding out their expectations whenever you ask them these questions. Back to this question is similar to the second one, or question number 4, but it's how motivated are you? It's an easy question, but it's going to give you insight into how serious these people are. And I think it makes them, when you ask somebody that question, I think they're going to respect that. And you're just going to find out, like, you're going to be able to read each other. And then the last question, would you like my help? If you don't ask for the business, you're not going to get the business. I think the two most important questions are number 1 and number 7. The other stuff you could, ask some of them, all of them, but you got to ask number 1 and you got to ask number 7. And once you've gone through a good conversation, having a lot of questions answered by the prospect, this should be easy. It should be an easy close. So in summary of the questions, set the tone and ask them, what made you decide to reach out to me or us, however you're structured, if it's just you or a team. If your plan works out, what does the outcome look like? What would be your end goal with working with me? Put you into their thought process. How much effort are you willing to put into getting your goal accomplished? And you can reword these questions to fit, whatever you're doing. You could use this for selling cars. You could use this for selling houses. I mean, make it fit you where it's to your personality. Have you tried to sell or buy before? How motivated are you? And the close, you got to ask them if they want your help. So that's all I have on the, basically asking questions instead of playing out scripts with people. And what did you want to talk about next, William?
So to touch on this, guys, and we'll answer the questions here in a few, specifically the one from Myra. But so this section of the deck kind of covers what you would do, obviously assuming you get this far through to talking to a lead, right? But I know a lot of you are concerned with what to do when you get it and how to do that. So I talked to you just a second ago about how to open it up with them. And when you do it the right way, you'll be surprised how many of them actually speak to you and answer your phone call when you call again. And simple questions are always the best questions, because when you send somebody a 2-paragraph email, it goes from personal email, which is what you think it is, to spam. When somebody reads that, they look at it, they delete it. You guys do it all the time. You get an email from somebody you don't know, you see more than one paragraph or a few sentences, and you delete that thing. We all do it, right? But asking these people very, very easy, basic questions like, how can I help you? Well, they're looking for help, so they're probably going to tell you how you can help them, right? And then that opens it up to do exactly what Doug said. Ask those open-ended questions. What area are you looking in? Like I said earlier, what are your goals? When are you trying? When would you like to be in your new home, or when would you like to be out of your home? When would you like us to close, et cetera, et cetera? Like what are those goals? And then of course from there, you take the conversation any way you want with your own twist on some of the things that we've showed you here today. And then we'll go into following up on leads. So like Myra said, what happens if you can't get a hold of them by, any means of any form of communication? I would have to ask you, what exactly have you tried? Because for me, I don't just try to text or email. I'll try, connecting with them on LinkedIn. Because you haven't lost a lead until they've told you you've lost it. I'll go friend them on Facebook if I think it's a serious deal. I'll research them enough to know, hey, this might be a really good lead for me. A lot of people will accept your friend request. Whether you're one of the agents that has an issue with putting people on your Facebook or not, well, that really just depends on you. But this is a social media world we live in. You friend somebody, they start seeing, the first thing they do is they look at your stuff. They're going to see you're a realtor if you promote yourself, right? Or you post your listing, or talk about an open house that you're having, things like that. There's 20, 30 different ways to contact someone. But if you try calling them or texting them, twice a week and then you forget about them, which I know a lot of people do, well, then you're not going to get that deal done. Lead generation doesn't matter if it comes from Zillow, it doesn't matter if it comes from Realtor.com, whether it comes from my training. If you don't follow up properly, just like Kalina said, put them into a CRM, put them on a drip campaign, call them 2, 3, 4 times a week. We call every single day in my office. Every single day they get a call. So until they tell me let's just be honest. Until they tell me to piss off, we're going to continue to call. And eventually they're going to answer the phone. And I have people that respond back to my drip campaigns after 4 months. It's all about building your pipeline. They'll say, you know what, I'm going to use you because you've kept in contact with me. When really you just let your system do the work. You have to have these things in place if you want to be successful, because you can't manually follow up on these people, and you're not going to close a deal if you're not constantly calling these people or keeping your name visible. Out of sight, out of mind. If they don't know you're there, you're invisible. So, all right, Jack, I'll let you move on.
So I was going to answer a question, or somebody made a comment, Kalina, that can work against you as well if you're posting inappropriate stuff on your social media. Beware. Well, yeah, if you're in sales, I mean, you should expect people to look you up if you're going to be doing work with them. I mean, if you want to post pictures of yourself doing, obscene stuff or whatever, that's cool. I mean, hopefully you just make your profile private where nobody can see it. What I recommend is make your profile public. Be sure to put on there that you're a real estate agent, and put your contact info on your page. I mean, make yourself very accessible. I see real estate agents all the time that you're like, you don't even know that they're a real estate agent from their Facebook page. That's a free outlet to show people that you're an agent. We could talk about, that's a whole nother webinar.
Yeah, Kitty said,
branding yourself.
Right. Kitty said, scrub your Facebook page, be professional at all times. I agree 100%. I mean, if you can't be a realtor and try to stay out of the public eye. That defeats the purpose of who you are. You want the public to know who you are. You want your name and face everywhere so people know who you are. So if you're trying to be an invisible realtor and you have bad stuff on your Facebook page and people can't find you, people don't know who you are, well, I mean, maybe it's a career change thing you should be thinking about, not lead conversion. But, my Facebook is wide open to anybody who is a friend of mine, or even if you're not. You can go in, you can look, you can comment on my stuff. I don't care, right? I have nothing to hide. I am who I am. But I also know that I'm a real estate agent who makes a living for my kids by selling property and having a need to befriend the public and the people around me. So, I guess, yeah, if you want to be a real estate agent and post whatever you want on Facebook, yeah, you probably should be aware, but that's kind of common sense. Don't accept people on your friends list or friend request people that you don't want seeing that stuff. But again, I would recommend you clean it up and do those things, because those things help. There's not a post in this. There's not an obscene post that I would want to post bad enough to keep me from, getting a potential, $6,000 to $20,000 paycheck, because that person could have bought a house for me just by doing something as little as putting them on my Facebook and letting them see who I am.
Yeah, you can use your Facebook page to help attract and repel your ideal client. It's really however you want to work it. But here's the thing: if somebody searches for you on Facebook and they want to research you, there's a good chance that your real estate agent page is not going to pop up, because Facebook only wants that to be found if you're paying for it. So if Jane Smith gets searched in Facebook, Jane Smith's personal profile page is the one that's going to pop up, and that's what people are going to see. So like I said, this is like a whole nother kind of webinar thing that we could do on social media branding and how to do that. And we can set that up some other time. I think one of the big things we wanted to talk about today was scripts, or the lack thereof, and the follow-up.
Yeah, how to follow up on leads, yeah.
So how to properly follow up with leads. Excuse me. There's almost no wrong way to follow up with leads, as long as any type of follow-up is better than nothing, because you're going to get zipped without any follow-up. So let's talk about a few methods, and you can pick and choose what works for you. You can pick, some people want to be more aggressive than others, and that's fine. It may work better for you that way. It may not, but like I said, something's better than nothing. One of the best methods that I think this is the best, it's the 3-3-3 method. So I'm sure everybody has heard that you need to touch a lead, like, what do they say now, 9 to 12 times before you're able to convert that lead. So if you follow this method, in the first 3 days, you're going to hit this lead 9 times. Because day one, when that lead comes in, they're going to get a call, an email, a text, three types of contact. Now, those are the most basic 3, but like William said, stalk them on Facebook. Send them a message through Facebook. Send them a message through LinkedIn. If you're into Snapchat, do that. What else is there? Instagram.
Yeah,
Twitter.
let me touch on something here. So Jamie said, I have a personal Facebook page and a business page. Business page is useful to add call to actions, and can also break the 5,000 follower limits for personal pages. Here's the problem with that. The problem with that is Facebook buries, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you can look it up. Facebook buries a lot of your posts on your Facebook fan pages, your real estate pages. And the reason why, doesn't matter if you have 20,000 people who like your page, which you likely don't. When you make a post there, not many people are going to see it. And the reason why is because Facebook wants you paying to advertise to those people. That's why they have that option in the ads manager. When you make a page to somebody, when you make a post on your personal page and somebody's there, the chances of them seeing it are probably 10 times greater. And they're also seeing it from you personally. They're not seeing it from William Hegman, the real estate agent page, because a lot of people ignore that stuff and they scroll right past it. Right? There's a huge difference between a business page and being more personal with these people. When it's little things like when people see a picture of your kid, right? They feel like they're a part of your life when they see that post come across your Facebook or come across their timeline, right? In a small way, they feel like they're connected to you in real life. So when they have a need, you've been emailing them through your drip campaign because you found them through them being a lead. Now they're on your Facebook page, and I'm telling you, a lot of them will friend request you because I do it all the time. And then you don't even have to message them the second you friend request them. Give them a couple days, and then message them. Hey, I saw that you were looking at yada yada. You submitted your information. Maybe, hey, that's an awesome dog you got. Whatever you see on their Facebook page, connect with them somehow, and then start a conversation. That kind of stuff works, and it goes a long way. It's a whole lot different than just the 3-3-3. The 3-3-3 is a great thing, but if you can connect with somebody personally, you have a greater chance at converting that deal.
So going back to the whole business page thing, I don't know how many followers you have on your page, Jamie, but I guarantee you most people don't have more than 500 followers. And even if you had 1,000 followers on your Facebook page or your business page, and you post something on there, the chances are more than 20 to 50 people are even going to see that.
Well, here's a great example. Shannon Gladden. Shannon, I'm looking forward to my training with you in a couple of weeks, by the way. I have over 17,000 likes on my business page, is what she's saying, for a clothing boutique that she has. And if she posts anything without boosting it, paying for it, for those that don't know that term, she gets as little as 28 views. And that's exactly my point. Facebook purposely buries those posts so people don't see them. If you've ever been an ads manager and you see the option, promote to your fans, or what's it called, Doug? I don't remember what exactly it says. But promote to people who like your page. You have to pay to promote to those people. The idea is, well, they already like your page, so if they see something, they may pay attention to it. You're still not getting that for free, which is why I don't understand why agents send out, and maybe it's because of just lack of not knowing this stuff. Obviously, I research this stuff a lot, but it's for lack of not knowing, and you guys continue to send out, like, how do I get people to like my page? I'm gonna ask every single person on my friends list 50 times a month to like my page, which is gonna make them hate you. It's just like when somebody at your brokerage, I'm not going to say any brokerage names, tells you that you need to pester your friends and family, your quote unquote sphere of influence, until they give you deals. Well, you know what that does? They're your friends and family, so they may not say I hate you, but in their mind, they really hate you when you call them 5 times a week asking them for business. Because now you're not a friend anymore. Now you're a marketer. Now you're a telemarketer to your own friends and family. So it's those things like that that you have to kind of stay away from and really start to be more social online, be more social in person. That's how you're going to get deals in the 21st century. So
We've talked about this on a webinar before. There's a method to using your personal page. Your personal page is going to come up way before your business page is in people's news feeds. And I know somebody put in there that they get like 200 organic, views whenever they only have 200 likes and they get over 200 organic views. That if you got over 200 views, and that means somebody's sharing your stuff, like you're doing something right for sure. But typically your business page stuff is not going to be seen. There's a way to do it with your personal Facebook page. It's branding. You're gonna use your personal page to get in front of people for free as well. We can do another webinar on that someday. I mean, there's a system for it. There are actually things that you can do to increase showing up in people's news feeds. Because if you notice, you show up, or the same news feed, or people show up in your news feed on a regular basis, there is a reason why. There's an algorithm to it.
right.
We can do that on another webinar.
Right, and then my response to that would be, and this is not to be rude. This is just to get real deal feedback on the differences of that people are experiencing. But how many times has someone called you and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you. I saw your post on your real estate business page." Right? I know it doesn't happen very often for many people. You have to go about it a different way these days, because unless you're closing a bunch of deals from all the posts that you're paying a company to post on your real estate Facebook page, I personally think that's a waste of money when you could use that same money and reach thousands more on Facebook and actually capture leads. But if that's working, great. But for the masses, I don't think it is. And now we've got Joseph. Joseph said, Facebook Live is a great way. I know a lot of agents that do that. Joseph, I'm assuming this is Joseph Gonzalez from Round Rock, right? Sounds like something you would do. But, posting those Facebook Live updates, again, making people feel like they're connected to you. That goes on your personal page, and it also lets people know who you are without you blasting, "Hey, I'm a realtor, buy this house," on your personal page. That also pisses your friends and family off, right? When you're constantly promoting yourself. Do it in a indirect kind of way. On my way to the office, tag your real estate company. It's something Doug taught me. On my way to go show some properties, check out this beautiful scenery. Tag your Facebook page. That's not marketing to them. That's just telling people what you're doing and indirectly telling them, don't forget I'm a realtor, right?
And like I said, there's a whole process to it. Don't make that all your posts. Make that about 20% of your posts. The other 80% is giving people what they want. Entertainment basically. So like I said, there's a whole method that we have for doing this. One thing I'm gonna give a little piece of information to all the agents out there listening. If you can, don't make a post about being at your closing, taking a selfie, like tooting your own horn. If you can, get your clients to do it for you. That's a testimonial right there. If you can get them to do it, if they want, then go ahead and do it. But try to have them talk about you, about how badass you are.
Just don't give them the keys.
Just share it
until they do it.
So let's go back up on this follow-up system. So when you get a lead, you need to hit that lead as soon as possible. That is a very big factor because of the day and age we live in. People get distracted really quick. They're going through stuff, like They're interested in this right now, but 5 minutes from now, who knows what they're into. Uh, so hit them up quick, three times each day. For the first 3 days, you've hit them 9 times. So if you need 12 touches to close a lead, you've already hit them up 9 times in the first 3 days. You're almost there. And then after that, we've already talked about that. Once you get them past that 3rd day, then put them on a scheduled follow-up system with your CRM. Let the CRM do the work. You should have a CRM that does the minimum of text messages and emails. If your CRM doesn't do text messages, you got to get a new one. It sucks. Bottom line. There's a really cheap one out there, Lion Desk, $25 a month. It'll do text, email, video text, and video email for you. Just drop the $25 and get it if you don't have something similar. Now the next thing is, how aggressive do you want to get? Do you want to follow these? All right, you've already hit them up 9 times in the first 3 days. Do you want to follow up once a day until they tell you to basically sell a home or to F off? That's up to you. Some people have a lot of success with being very aggressive. They're just going to get a lot of F offs. I think there's a sweet spot in the middle of that. You can't be too weak on your follow up, and that's where I think your CRM comes into place, because hit them with the email like a few times a week. Put them on a home search. Always put them on a home search, and text them once or twice a week. I'm thinking like about 4 touches to maybe even 5 touches a week is pretty good follow-up. Don't call them every day, though. Do you have anything to say?
That's incorrect. That's incorrect. You be ruthless and call them every single day until they answer that phone. After you get that initial contact, I'm sorry, me and Doug don't agree on everything, so this isn't all planned out. Until you get that initial contact, call their ass every single day until they tell you to piss off, or they say, you know what? Yeah, I've just been really busy. I work nights, whatever, right? Or I work all day, and I'm asleep at 6. Well, I'll call you at 8 when you wake up from nap time, right? That's what you have to do if you want to be successful. After you talk to them, obviously don't do that, right? Put them on a follow-up schedule, like Doug said. But if you haven't talked to them, you have nothing to lose until you either lose it or you gain something.
You're right. You have nothing to lose, and everything we're talking about right now is to make that initial contact. This is not for after you've already talked to them. And William's on the more aggressive side. I like text messages. I just feel like you get a lot more people are going to read the text message than they will listen to a voicemail. But like William said, keep calling until they either buy a house with you or sell a house with you or tell you to F off. I mean, you got 3 options. It's not bad odds. So
I mean, that's really it. But but one thing is guaranteed: if you don't call them, you won't do anything. Yeah,
exactly.
You won't piss off, but you definitely won't get a paycheck. That's
exactly. No follow-up equals zip.
Right. And one thing, like I said, I wanted to add, I know I touched on this a little while ago, is, everybody talks about the difference of leads, right? The leads that come from some of the bigger companies and doing it on your own are not much different. The difference is with Facebook, you can take your ad to them. If you're paying thousands of dollars on, for one zip code on a different platform, and those people have to go to that platform to submit their information to you, right? That doesn't make the lead any better than one where you're paying a fraction of that cost, taking the ad to them. If they hit that ad and submitted their information, they are still interested in buying a property, right? It doesn't matter, right? And with some of these bigger ones, people say, well, how do we weed out the bad ones? You could do that through targeting on Facebook. It's hard to get rid of all of them. But one thing, again, is for certain. When you're paying thousands of dollars on another platform, there's no way for them to weed out bad ones. You get who you get, and you don't throw a fit. That's how it works with those people. That's exactly what it is, right? And the outcome's going to be the same. You either work the leads and you follow up properly, or you don't work them and you get nothing. It's all on the agent. Once the leads come in, you guys have to be ready to go to close. If you're willing to spend that kind of money generating leads, you have to be prepared to follow up and execute. That's really the end game. It's either kill or be killed in real estate. You guys know that.
You're paying for these leads, and I want to elaborate on something that William said about these leads that come in. Yes, you're going to have crappy leads. In fact, the majority of them may suck. If you think you're going to close 20 to 30% of these leads, then you're smoking something. Like, it's not going to happen. If you can close 2% of these leads, that's pretty decent. So out of 100 leads, you close 2 deals, and say you're spending $4, $5 a lead.
Even
That's
if you're paying
$500.
even if you're paying $10 a lead, you close one, your ROI is still huge.
Yeah, but I think most of these leads are probably averaging out like probably closer to $5, right?
Yeah, mine. I mean,
not in Austin, but
that's all. Yeah, not in Austin, but it's all relative to the area too. Because, like in Austin, I've got a lot of my trainees that do way better than me on cost per lead. But Austin's competitive. So is New York. So is California, right? But then you get down into areas like where one of my trainees is. New Jersey's a little bit different. And, you go down to Houston, totally different market right down the road. But I had a trainee get 29 leads in 3 days for $60. Do the math on that, right?
$2 a lead.
Right, $2 a lead. So it's all market dependent. And one thing I learned yesterday was that some markets are completely different from the rest of the country. For example, New York and California are completely different from the rest of the country. But either way, even if you pay 20 a lead, if you guys are willing to go to, again, some of these bigger websites and pay thousands of dollars a month, and you get 21 leads, which is usually what they guarantee you, right? 21 to 30 leads. Do the math on that. That's anywhere from $100 to $200 a lead.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're getting at all. At least with Facebook or social media, you can get them for a fraction of that cost and at least target down to certain parameters and understand somewhat of actually not somewhat, but a lot more about your lead and where they're coming from, what area they're coming from, etc. So, all right, go ahead, Doug.
Oh, and it all comes down to, you're paying for these leads, and if you have realistic expectations, you should crush it. I mean, get 100 leads in and close 2 of those deals and be happy. Close 5 of them, be ecstatic. If you close 2 out of 100, I don't know where you're at and what your average sales price is, but let's just say $200,000. You close 2 deals, that's 12,000. So that'd be 12,000 in commissions. Not bad, not too bad for spending like maybe up to $500 on leads. But just remember again, it's all in the follow-up. And these leads aren't 30-day money. If you get these leads thinking that they're all going to come in and want to go shopping tomorrow,
stop doing leads.
You're setting yourself up for failure. You're going to be very disappointed. These leads are, most of them, I would probably say on average, are going to be 6-month money, right, William?
All leads are going to be. Now, okay, let me say the vast majority of them will be, because some of them, I've gotten leads that come in and they're ready to go, right?
Yes.
But for the most part, if there was a magic pill that got us leads where they were just like, let's go, we would all be rich realtors, right? That's not how it works. You still have to work. Only with, the difference is how much you're willing to pay for them and how much work you're willing to put into doing it yourself, which is what I hope a lot of people provide, right? I show you the tools, the system, you know what I mean? And how to not spend a bunch of money every month to let someone else do it for you and get those what's your home worth ad leads. You guys know how much I hate that shit. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are the worst leads ever in life, in the universe. They're the worst leads. Whether you take my training or not, or or come to me and ask me for questions, please don't sign up for a service that does those types of leads. Please don't.
Unless you have a time machine and you can go back to 2010.
Right. Exactly. That may have worked back in the day, but you need real leads.
Yeah.
Not people that are nosy about what their home is worth, but people that have said, yes, I'd love to hear about your first time home buyer benefits. Yes, I'd love to get a list of open houses, or whatever the ad is. Those are real leads. So
Yeah. So think about this. What you're doing with these leads is you're building a pipeline. So whatever you're doing today is going to pay off, say, 6 months down the road. That's just the way to look at it. And if you got some stuff that closes before 6 months, then awesome. That's just icing on the cake. But if you keep doing this over the next year, you're not going to have those up and down months. You're going to have month after month where you're steadily closing deals. This is what this is for. You have to have your expectations set realistically. Now, I want to answer a question that Todd Kaufman asked. He said, how long do you recommend keeping them on the social agent drip campaign? I would say a year and a half to 2 years on a drip campaign.
Yeah, I have mine. I let mine go for 415 days. That's the one I set them up on. That's a drip campaign that they get during training. Doug, you mind if I say something here? I'm gonna get a little bit personal with something here for a second, because it matters here. So Doug said, these are 6 months out, right? A lot of times. Sometimes you're going to get good ones. Now, I'm gonna read something Vicky said, then I'm going to finish saying what I was going to say. Vicky received 86 leads. She took my training in February. Since February 22nd. She's been working with them and reaching out consistently. The first ones are just starting to respond, is what she said. So when did I meet you, Doug? March of last year? Something like that?
April or March.
When I met Doug, I've been around the real estate industry for a long, long time, mostly on the investment side. Now I'm an agent. But when I was first starting out, I was all over the place, trying to figure out lead generation, trying to get money anywhere possible, because I've always been the kind of person that just jumps into shit head first, right? And that's exactly what I did with real estate. I quit my job, I went in, and I got to a point where I was struggling quite a bit. Doug, if anybody knows that, or actually the only person that knows that is Doug. And I developed a lot of this stuff with him. I got to points where I didn't know whether I was going to be able to pay the rent, right? That's when shit gets real. And you just have to, one of the things he told me was follow up, and I still didn't do that properly, right? And now this year, things started to turn and do a lot better. And I hired my ISA. And the first thing I did was tell Doug, I want to see how much damage I did by not following up on all those leads I generated last year. I'm sure you remember this conversation, because Doug was like, shit, I missed that money too, right? So I have, we had what? 2,800, 3,000 leads in the system at this point, about a month and a half, 2 months ago, that we had generated from last year on to now. And after about 300 calls, I think maybe 40 or 50 actual conversations, it was probably like 30 or 40 people had closed on property that wasn't with me, right? And made me so sick, I just made my ISA stop calling those old leads. Because I realized how much money I left on the table. So that's why I told you guys in the beginning, no lead is a bad lead. They're going to buy a house at some point because they just showed interest. Doesn't matter if they've got a 500 credit score, because in 6 months, you're either going to be the agent that they go with, or you're going to be the one that threw them to the side and is not going to close that deal in 6 months. So just like Vicky said, 86 leads. We are almost in May now. Right? She's about at the 3-month mark. They're just starting to respond. Tack on another month or so for getting things ready to go and get an offer in, and another month for closing, you're at the 5 to 6 month mark, right? Those are the statistics. But so nothing is going to be immediate. But one thing again is for certain: if you don't build your pipeline next year, you still won't have a pipeline. And that's really the end of that.
Yeah. There is no overnight fix. It's not out there. If anybody promises you that, they're full of shit. Bottom line. I mean, because everybody would get it. It's not an overnight solution.
Right. Priscilla said, but they unsubscribe. If they unsubscribe, there's nothing you can do about it. Right? That's going to happen. But I can promise you your unsubscribe rate's not 50%. It's not 40 or 30%. It's probably somewhere between 5, maybe 10. And 10 would be pushing it. But the problem is people only remember the bad stuff, right? They got it unsubscribed. It feels like everybody on their list unsubscribed. That happens. It is what it is. But I think my numbers, and Doug has access to my systems, but I think we probably see one unsubscribe for every 20 or 30 leads that we get, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that many.
No.
That's fine. You're not going to close all of them.
No, and quite frankly, some people are, let's be honest here. We've all gotten leads where they go, I just clicked on it on accident, right? Well, I mean, I don't know how you click 3 buttons simultaneously on accident, but it happens, right? They just don't want to be in your list. They get out of there. That's it. All right, before we move on, does anybody else have any questions? I'm going to look back here, and then I'm going to read a question or something that Vicky said because this worked for her really well. Somebody asked, other than Zillow or Boomtown, where are you buying leads from? I don't buy leads from either of those. I only go to Facebook. I train people on Facebook lead generation. It's my sole source of lead generation, period. When I first got into the business, I tried Zillow, and I quickly got away from it. Doug can tell you all about that too. Now, Vicky said she sent out a mass text to all of them last Friday saying she was just checking in to see if they wanted me to send the open houses for the weekend. That's exactly what I say all the time. Very general stuff, really quick and easy. It doesn't have to have a signature in it. Doesn't have to have a pretty picture of you at the bottom. Make it feel personal, right?
But she also says she got over 20 responses.
Right. I was not prepared for the response. Over 20 responded. Now she's got 20 leads that are looking for property, right? Because they all responded. They're interested in buying a house. Those go to the top of your list. Kalina said, I hate that response. And they fill out the form with they're talking about the I did it on accident response. Jamie, it was a great presentation. Anytime, Jamie, no problem. Let's see. Let me finish these questions here and then we'll move on. Can't wait until my training with you either, Kalina. How to deal with family members that buy or sell. You know what, Priscilla? I honestly kind of hate it when I see agents go into some of these other groups and get upset when their family doesn't buy or sell a house with them, because I am that family member. I don't do business with family. My sister and her husband are both brokers. I grew up around them. I still don't do business with them. You know why? Because I value my relationship with them, and I let them know that. If you do business with me, I like business, and I like to get aggressive. You could probably tell that from this call. If my sister is my agent, I'm going to treat her ass like she's my agent. If something goes wrong, I'm going to hold her accountable. I don't want to do that to my family, right? So I would rather use someone else that is going to do what I need them to do, and I don't have to tiptoe around things when I need something done. If I feel like they're not doing a good job, I can just say, hey, you're screwing up, and I need you to fix it. I can't do that with my sister. So you know what? When a family member does that, let them be who they are. Doesn't mean you need to end your relationship with them, because I see agents say, I'm never talking to my sister ever again. I mean, really? Because they didn't want to do business with you, that's kind of petty. But that's how I deal with it. All right. Thanks, Christina. Have a good day. Any other questions? Yes, this is recorded. Yes, I will, or I'll have Doug upload the deck in the archive section of the group, so you guys can access the slides. And again, yeah, it is recorded. I'll post it tonight, and we love you too. All right, let's see. Any more? We got a lot of questions, a lot of stuff here. All right, I'll see you in the morning, Anita, for training. All right, so I'm through the questions. I'm going to let Doug finish this deck up, and then we'll we'll do another round of questions, and then we'll touch on the conference. I know a lot of you guys are interested in what we have coming for that, so we'll touch on that for 5 minutes real quick, and then we'll cut it short. We'll cut it off for today.
I actually just uploaded the PowerPoint presentation to the files section of the Facebook page.
There you go. There. The nerd works
So,
fast.
It's all about the follow-up. You definitely got to put them on a drip campaign, and they need to have email, text messaging. I say sprinkle some phone calls in there for a complete package. William says bring the thunder with the phone calls. I mean, it's really depends on how far you want to take it, but do something. So don't forget this is for my iPhone users out there. Very, very important little hack to know. If you have somebody's email, and let's say you get a bad phone number, if you have somebody's email and you have an iPhone, go to text messages, plug in that email into the text messages, and then put the cursor down in there like you're going to go type. If that email turns blue, that means it's hooked up to their iMessaging, and you can send them a text message with that email. And if you send somebody a text message, I believe it's 92 or 93% of text messages get read. That's probably why I won't move from an iPhone for a very long time. It's a really cool hack.
That's unfortunate.
And people, they may be like, how the hell did this guy send me a text message? But you paid for that lead, stalk them down any way that you can. You paid good money for that, They gave you their information. Find them. Yep. So that's all I really have on the follow-up stuff. I don't know if there's any more questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, guys, we're going to open it up. Let's post any more questions you have real quick. We'll knock those out. And then we'll talk about the conference that people have been asking about. I've been getting quite a few messages about the conference that we initially it was just an idea. Now it's starting to become more of a reality.
And we didn't get a chance to talk about promoting a listing in the right way. And maybe we can do that on the next webinar, because I pay quite a bit of money to be part of certain groups where we get training. I get training too. William does the same thing. The cool thing is I can take that training and share it with other people. I want to show y'all how to run an ad using one of your properties to bring in leads. It's basically like doing the same stuff Zillow does.
Well, you know what? We lost about 15% of the audience, but I'll tell you what, if you guys, there's 42 of you left. If you want to take 5 minutes and you want me to show you what Doug is talking about, I actually have one running right now. So
this might be a little different. What I'm saying to do is take your property that you got, run a lead ads with it, and then whenever you once they fill out that information, then you can take them to the page. Like if you're using conversion, where it goes to the conversion page, or if you're using Listing Booster, where it goes to that single property website. But use that property to help bring in leads for that area.
Yeah, I agree. Priscilla, the best time of day, in my opinion, to call or text a lead is around lunchtime or right in the evening when they're getting off in their car, 5 to 7. But that's just me. Everybody might have a different opinion on that. All right. Any other questions? Okay, you guys want to see that ad that I'm running? I think it is a little bit different than what Doug mentioned, but it's still same premise. We'll just show you the difference. All right, I'm going to flip over to my screen, guys. If you can tell me when you see my screen. Oh, let me get out of here, Doug. Let me see.
We can see your screen.
Hey, y'all don't read my messages. There's some private stuff in there. Don't look. All right, we're out of there. All right. So I changed this ad. I just go in and edit it. So originally I had it running as a just listed ad. A couple of days ago, I went and edited the verbiage to an open house ad because I have open houses scheduled for this Saturday and this Sunday. Oh, look at that, Doug. 315 lead, bruh. All right, let's see. So today alone, I've had seven link clicks. This is a little bit different than the lead ad forms because I have them going through my listing booster page. A lot of you have probably seen. Some of you haven't. Maybe we'll go over that again on the next webinar. But when someone clicks on your ad, right, they're going to click learn more. It's not going to give them a lead ad form because most people won't submit on a single property. You have to get really specific. They have to be interested in that property alone for it to make sense. But what I do is if they just want to see it, I'll run it off of one of my listing booster links. And I also wrong click right there. I also, what the hell is going on here? Am I doing the mobile section there? All right. I also post this in the groups for free, but when I want to target specific people who are renters who are likely to move or something like that, right? Just really quick, easy, laser targeted right in that area, people that are probably likely to buy in the same area they're currently renting. I'll run it like this, except it's optimized for impressions on link clicks. So when they click it, it goes straight into here, right? Now I've already done this before, but if anybody else clicked it, a box would pop up and it would say continue with Facebook, right? And they would see my virtual tour, the pictures, the description of the property. But when they continue through Facebook, I've got it set up to where it it's set up to where it captures their email, and for me, it automatically goes into my CRM and drops them on a drip campaign. So even though I don't have their phone number, I can still find them on Facebook because that's the email that they're using on Facebook, so I can go look them up, right? But then when it gets closer, so right now I've got like probably 30 emails that I've captured over the last week or so for this. Friday, I'm going to email them all. Hey, you checked out my ad on Facebook for the open house. We've got one scheduled for Saturday and Sunday, this time to this time. We'd love for you to come and see the property. You should come out, right? Easy way to get a lot of people into your open house and then get their phone number when they sign in, right? And the people that come are probably pretty serious. So that's how I run that. And the same thing for just listed. It's a little bit, you reach quite a bit more people doing the link clicks, but you don't capture exactly all of their information, except it does promote the hell out of your listing. So I hope that helps with you guys. All right, so moving on, I think now we'll talk about the conference and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up. If you have any other questions, again, please post them in the box because once we're done, we'll go ahead and cut the meeting off. Doug, I'll let you kick that off with the conference and what you've got, and then I'll jump in.
Well, with the conference, as we talked about, we're working on nailing a date down. We are thinking about September, and we're trying to decide if we're going to do it in a 2-day event or a 1-day event. Of course, 2 days versus 1 day is going to have an impact on the price. But we've already got some pretty good people to come talk. I think we should have somebody from Listing Booster, somebody from Lion Desk. Who else do we have, William?
Possibly someone from Conversion. There's a couple of other ones I don't want to mention yet because it's not nailed down. And I want to make it clear to you guys that this is not a sales conference. We're not trying to sell a bunch of stuff because I don't have any financial ties to any of these companies. This is solely for the purpose of training you. If you're not interested in the Lion Desk, that's fine. Yeah, and best practices. But they'll give a presentation around that CRM. They're all somewhat the same. You can just take that training and apply it to the one that you use, right? So we're going to try to avoid that. But just like Doug said, if it's a 1-day event, it'll be cheaper than a 2-day event, obviously. 2-day events just kind of make more sense for you to make that trip so you have some time to kind of unwind. Carolyn asked what city. We're thinking about the first one being in Austin.
The first one will be in Austin, I believe, right?
Yeah, the first one will be in Austin. Joni, you said besides YouTube, on Lion Desk, on the left-hand side at the bottom, there's a link that says, I think it just says like online help or something like that. If you click that, There's about 15 training videos in there on Lion Dusk already. I think the people asking yesterday for a training on it really just want me to kind of go through and give a kind of a live overview of how I would use it, not just the company's standard, like here's how you do this, although it's pretty much the same. We all have our shortcuts that we use to get things done inside of every piece of software that we use. And yeah, I'll try to hold a webinar in the next few weeks on training on that. Now, I'm not going to charge anybody for that, obviously. All right. Anything else you want to add, Doug?
Oh, also with the with the conference, it's going to be a lot of learning, a lot of good information, but it's also going to be fun, right? We're definitely going to, if we do the conference, we're going to make it to where everybody's going to come down, they're going to learn, they're going to get to social, network, but they're also going to have a great time. So it'll be the complete package.
Right. Okay. If there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and call it a day. We appreciate you guys attending the webinar, and please let us know when I post a video later if you feel like we did a great job, if there's something that we could have done different, information that would have been more helpful for you, things like that. That constructive feedback will help us make these better in the future. All right, y'all have a great day.